Hello and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's occasional show where we talk to you about a cool new product that we've been testing out here in PC Labs. I'm Tom Brandt, this is Brian Westover, and today we're going to be talking to you about the brand new Apple MacBook Air M2 version, which is just launched this month and is Apple's cheapest laptop that is been a mainstay for years, and it's gotten a significant upgrade this year, and we're going to tell you all about it. So Brian, show us what we've got.
All right. Well, first of all, we've got the MacBook Air right here. I've got it in my hot little hands. I've been testing it for a few days. It's a fantastic little machine. It's everything you'd expect from the MacBook Air and then some, because they've made a lot of changes this time around. But it is worth noting that the new version with M2 actually isn't the cheapest MacBook available anymore. The MacBook Air with M1 chip is actually sticking around as the entry-level model, and it's the most affordable Mac in Apple's lineup still. So if you're on a budget, that's still probably what we recommend. This guy's a little pricier, and our configuration is actually a little pricier than most. But let's get talking about it.
Yeah, so there are a ton of physical changes, right? This is basically the first, well, not the first time they've changed the MacBook Air, but certainly like it's a whole new form factor. Walk us through what it looks like. There's new ports, there's a new shape. What have we got?
So, I mean, they've redesigned this from the ground up. This is the most substantial design update that the MacBook Air has had in at least a decade. On the one hand, it's still a very thin and light Mac, and so it's what you expect from the Air, but just about everything has been changed. Let's start with the physical design. I mean, if you look at the side, you do not see a wedge anymore. That's a pretty drastic change from the wedge profile that the MacBook Air has had for many years. Now it's got a nice consistent thickness from front to back, and it looks a heck of a lot like the newest MacBook Pros, but thinner and lighter. But that's not all. We've also got a larger screen. So we've gone from 13.3 inches up to 13.6, much narrower bezels all around, and the introduction of the notch. It has finally come to the MacBook Air. But honestly, that's okay, because the display is beautiful. It's a liquid retina display, 500 nits of brightness, P3 color. It's a beautiful display, and good golly, this is thin. Under 3 pounds. And they've, like I said, they've tweaked just about everything on this, not just the physical design. The port selection is a little different. We got here dual Thunderbolt ports and the return of MagSafe.
Now, the MagSafe charger actually has gone through several iterations, and it came back on the MacBook Pro last year. I'm kind of excited about that because it means that you don't have to take up one of those two USB-C ports for charging the battery. On the other hand, you do now have to bring along with you the MagSafe cable, which is not compatible with the old MagSafe cable, but that still frees up an additional port. And I should mention, you can still charge the laptop with a USB-C adapter that you might have. Is that correct?
Right. The charger that they include is MagSafe, and like you mentioned, it's not compatible with any previous version of MagSafe. Everyone is unique, unfortunately. But it is color matched to the laptop. Like our model here, you can't quite see because of my lighting, is Starlight, which is sort of a goldish, dusky color. It's also available in traditional silver, the darker space gray, and now a new midnight, which is sort of a near black with hints of blue. It doesn't quite come across in photos, the blue, but it does in person. Whichever color you pick, your MagSafe charger is going to match. Also, on our model, and this is not included with the base model of the M2 Air, but it is on the step-up version, is the 35-watt power charger, the little tiny brick with dual USB-C power output. It's available for really any current Mac that you want, but it's a $20 upgrade, but it's included when you get the higher-end model, which we have here.
So as we mentioned, the base model MacBook Air with the M1 processor, which is 2 years old, is still for sale. That is the one that starts at $1,000. This one here that we're talking about is the brand new upgraded version, totally new design, as we just showed you. That one starts at $1,200, but and adds the M2 processor, which has all sorts of goodies, which we'll talk about in a minute, including a more powerful GPU, better processing, and of course those additional ports. And then the M2 MacBook Air can also be configured with higher memory and storage amounts, up to 24 gigabytes of memory and 2 terabytes of storage. And the final thing, for people looking for a laptop to match their decor, it is available in multiple colors, as we mentioned.
Silver, Starlight, Space Gray, and Midnight.
So there you go.
All
Take your pick of colors.
shades of gray with a goldish tint thrown in on Starlight. So
right.
not as colorful as the iMac, but
yeah,
you at least got some options.
Yeah. All right. So that kind of gives you the brief rundown of the physical changes and the types of configurations that you can expect. Obviously, you can expect to pay more than $1,200 if you upgrade the memory and storage. But let's talk now about the M2 processor, because that really is the main change on the inside of this laptop. We've already seen it in the new MacBook Pro. What can you expect if you decide to go for this M2 version over the older M1 MacBook Air?
Well, for starters, you're getting a significant bump in processing capability. It is noticeably faster. Apps open more with a snappier speed. It's all more responsive. You can tell that it's a better chip inside. But if you're expecting something that might, give you a cheaper version of, say, the MacBook Pro with M1 Pro or M1 Max, it doesn't do that. M2 is very carefully tailored by Apple to slot right in between the M1, here's the M2, and here's the M1 Pro. It is better than M1. It is not better than M1 Pro. M2 is the first step in Apple's new processor line, but they've been very careful to keep it from cannibalizing what they're still selling. So just bear that in mind.
You mentioned that's where it kind of slots in there. That makes sense. Again, this is $1,200. It's not the $2,000 plus that you might spend on one of those 14-inch or 16-inch MacBook Pros. But right. I'm specifically interested in the graphics capabilities, because the previous MacBook Air, or the M1 MacBook Air, has 7 cores, 7 graphics cores. This one now has up to 10 graphics cores. Can you walk us through, is this like a gaming machine now, or what have we got here in terms of graphics?
Right. So Apple has stepped up the graphics capability, but maybe not so much that it's a gaming machine. It's enough that you can play games on it. So that's something for a Mac. But it doesn't fix the problems of what games are actually available for Mac and what plays nicely with Apple Silicon and what doesn't. Those are different issues. But you do have enough graphics capability that you can get solid frame rates on AAA games, so long as you keep the resolution and the detail settings reasonable. More importantly, this will let you do more in terms of like media editing. If you want to do photo or even video editing, you've got hardware acceleration for ProRes and ProRes RAW. It supports H.264 and HEVC codecs. And so in terms of media and what you can do with it, it's actually really capable for what's considered the entry-level Mac. You can do a lot.
So now, okay, so we've got the M2 MacBook Air, we've got an M2 MacBook Pro. We know where all these things are situated. And let's not forget that the M series now is also in the iPad, Apple's iPad as well. So let's take a look at why you would want the Air specifically over the Pro, or even another Windows laptop, or the M1 Air. Who is this for?
This really, more than any other item in the Mac lineup, this is the general use. This is the for everybody laptop. Because it has everything you expect from a laptop, including a keyboard and a generous trackpad, which they look and feel great, as you expect from a Mac. So the MacBook Pro models are better if you need that high-end performance for editing lots of video at like professional level, or doing in the field photo editing. But for most people, the MacBook Air is really the way to go. Partly because it gives you everything you need in a laptop, that great laptop keyboard, touchpad, nice bigger screen, but it still delivers in most fronts with equal performance. It'll get through things quickly. It lasts a long time on battery, about 13 hours in our testing. There's really not a lot of reason not to go with this unless you specifically need that bump up in power. This is the one to go with for most people with almost every task you need to complete.
Okay, so that is the 2022 version of the MacBook Air with the M2 processor. If you're watching this on PCMag.com, you probably already know our review and rating of this. If not, head on over to PCMag.com to read our full review. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Tom Brandt. This is Brian Westover, and we will be back in the near future with yet another One Cool Thing.